In this episode, the story continues at the matchmaking event for Daling and Xiao. The two of them were finally matched thanks to the words of Chen, who said that they were indeed soulmates. Chen Pinggan said that Xiao was a good girl. It seemed that Chen did not care about their matchmaking, because he thought that Daling and Xiao already liked each other, so there would be no problem in this matchmaking. After that, Chen headed straight to the alchemist room to retrain his alchemist skills. Besides, he heard from Lord Wan that in half a month, there would be a big alchemist tournament in the Danwu Empire's capital. Given that the tournament was a fairly large tournament, the alchemist masters scattered from all over the country would definitely attend it and participate. So this tournament was the perfect time for Chen to introduce himself as a reliable alchemist. Being recognized as a good alchemist was Chen's main mission from the system. The system required him to play the role of Zhendanting, and he also needed to be known as an alchemist. Chen should be able to use this tournament to rise his prominence, just as he had done in the previous Warrior Kingdom martial arts tournament. This was a stepping stone for Chen to complete his mission. In order to be exposed, Chen was determined to win the tournament, which meant he had to be able to make high-level pills in order to defeat all the participants in the tournament. To be able to win the tournament, the condition that must be met is to be able to make a level 6 pill. If he is able to make the pill, then he is certainly considered better than other participants. This tournament is specifically for masters. It's different from the previous competition, whose participants were new alchemists, whose winning conditions were only at level 5 pills, while in this tournament, the conditions for becoming a winner must be able to make level 6 pills. When Chen was practicing alchemy at Ping'an Sect, he had succeeded in making a high-level pill, with a very fragrant smell coming from his stove or the characteristic smell of a high-level pill. When he succeeded in making the pill, Chen looked very relieved, because he was finally able to make a high-level pill. Although many consider Chen to have been assisted by the system when he made the pill. So we can conclude that it was the system that had been helping Chen by providing Chen with unlimited spiritual energy. With this energy, Chen was able to process the pills. This is also the answer to the Immortals question yesterday, which questioned how Tier 1 materials could be used to make high-level pills. Theoretically, only with the help of extraordinary spiritual energy could that happen. This finally revealed Chen's words. The system had provided him with infinite spiritual energy. Long story short, when the pills made by Chen were almost finished, the weather suddenly became cloudy and stormy. This sudden change in weather left the cultivators confused and unable to explain what exactly happened. The lightning occurred in the room where Chen was making the pills, so they wondered if perhaps Senior Chen had failed to make the pills. Zhang Xiaofeng was also curious about the lightning near the alchemist room that Senior Chen used to make pills. He wondered if the lightning bolt had anything to do with Senior Chen's failure to make pills. But it seems that this was just Zhang Xiaofeng's thoughts, because it was not explained in detail why lightning appeared near the alchemist's room. A moment later, a huge thunderbolt appeared in the sky, and it then struck Chen Pinggan's furnace. Instead of the lightning strike failing the pill, 2 high-level pills appeared thanks to the lightning strike. The 2 pills then flew towards Daling and Xiao. The flying of the 2 pills towards Daling and Xiao made the elders there think that Senior Chen had deliberately made the pills as a wedding gift for both of them. The elders then told both of them to eat the pills immediately. After eating the pills, an aura shield body suddenly appeared from both of them. We still don't have any explanation what is meant by the aura shield body, but when the people who were there saw the aura, they immediately made a fuss by saying that there were an additional 2 people who were ready to become immortals. The possibility is, the aura shield body has a connection for someone heading towards the immortal level or something valuable that is needed to be at the immortal level. The elders also assumed that the pill was a gift from Chen for Daling and Zhao's marriage. On the other hand, Chen, whose body gets dirty, as his stove was destroyed by a lightning strike, was suddenly visited by Daling and Xiao, who immediately bow down themselves in front of him while thanking him. Chen was puzzled by their gratitude. He wondered what made them thank me. Was it because I had matched them? Were they thanking me because they finally felt that they were a good match for each other, who would later form a harmonious family? But we know that was not the case. They thanked him. They were actually grateful for being given the pill by Chen. He didn't seem to know that the lightning pill was actually successfully made. Chen then realized that in the matchmaking event, there were many people coming to attend, so he took the opportunity to announce his strange method, which was that people had to say they liked him. Finally, from the event he managed to collect 10,000 points. This is the maximum points he could ever get. Chen then said goodbye to everyone because he felt that his business in that place was over, but before Chen left, Lang Su approached him to ask if Senior Chen had gone to the Dongwu Empire yesterday. Hearing Lang Su's question, Chen again wondered to himself, did he accidentally tell others about his departure to the Dongwu Empire to the point that it was heard by Lang Su? Because, when he went to the Dongwu Empire, he was disguised as Jin Daunting, not as Chen Pinggan. If anyone found out, it meant that his disguise had failed. Feeling that his disguise had failed, Chen's facial expression subconsciously turned rather frightening. Seeing Chen's frightened look, Lang Su became frightened too. He wondered if he had asked the wrong question. He was afraid that he would mess up Chen's senior plan, so Lang Su apologized while bowing down to Chen. Lang Su then told how he found out that Senior Chen had gone to the Dongwu Empire yesterday. Lang Su said that yesterday he heard the news about 2 asteroids falling on the Dongwu Empire. He then asked Minister Zhou Yingping or Xiaomi's father about it, and Minister Zhou said that it was true that there were asteroids that fell and there was a master who blew up the asteroids with a secret technique to save people. Upon hearing Minister Zhou's story, Lang Su wondered if the master in question was Senior Chen, so he tried to confirm it by asking Chen directly. Lang Su finally realized that his guess was right, and Chen then gave his alibi. He told Lang Su that it was true that he went to the Dongwu Empire yesterday, but what he did yesterday was not something big and important. Chen felt that he was the one who blew up the asteroid, even though until now, we don't know who actually managed to blow up the asteroid. Chen said that he did this so that there would be no obstacles during the upcoming alchemist tournament. The Dongwu Empire's alchemist tournament to be held next month was the most important thing, and blowing up the asteroid was not. Then Chen left the Buddhist poems book that he had revised to give to Xiaoming. Chen left the book with Lang Su because he felt he knew Minister Zhou, Xiaoming's father, and also Chen had promised Xiaoming to proofread the book, then he would return it to Xiaoming. After that, Chen mounted his dragon and left. He rides a dragon just to look cool. It turned out that Zhang Xiaofeng had overheard Chen and Lang Su's conversation at that time, and he then told Lang Su to immediately rush to the Dongwu Empire to give the book. Given that this is Chen's senior mission that must be prioritized and must be carried out immediately. They considered that all orders from Chen must be very important, so it should not be delayed. After Lang Su's departure, Xiaofeng thought it seemed like there would be a big change that would happen in the Dongwu Empire. Surely Senior Chen had planned something. A few days later, the story continued to Chen Pinggan, who was taking a break, before preparing himself to leave for the Dongwu Empire. He is looking at the weapons he will buy for his defense in the Dongwu Empire. In this case, he would go to Dongwu Empire as Jin Daunting, not as a person with superpowers, so he felt that if there was a problem, then there was no way he would ask his dog, which was actually a dragon, for help. Finally, Chen decided to buy a sniper that was quite expensive, so he spent all the points he had. When Chen tested the sniper, as we know the gun he had yesterday can destroy trees, and we wonder what the power of the sniper is like, whether it can destroy mountains. Chen's dog, which is actually a dragon, was terrified of the sniper's power. The story then continues to Chen, who has arrived at the Dongwu Empire. He saw the man with the fan, who had previously brought the crowd to gang up on him in the previous story. The fan man was arrested by the guards, and Chen then asked someone beside him what was the reason for the man's arrest. And the man next to him then told him in detail the events that happened a few days ago. He told him that a few days ago, 2 asteroids known to bring calamity fell in the Dongwu Empire. The place where the asteroids fell would later become a place that would always bring bad luck. It turns out that the place where the asteroids fell was close to Minister Zhou's house or Xiaomi's father. At that time, Emperor Dongwu Empire tried to kill Minister Zhou and his family. But when the Emperor of Dongwu Empire had sent assassins to kill Minister Zhou, at the same time, the Emperor of the Jinyu Empire, or Lang Su's father, came to Dongwu Empire, and he managed to stop the hitman for killing Minister Zhou. So as we know, Lang Su is the Prince of Jinyu Empire, and Lang Su's father is an emperor. The arrival of the Emperor of the Jinyu Empire was because he heard rumors of an asteroid falling on the Dongwu Empire. Long story short, Emperor Jinyu, or Lang Su's father, managed to stop the hitman sent by the Emperor of Dongwu Empire when he was about to kill Minister Zhou. Then the two formed a partnership. Emperor Jinyu will help Minister Zhou to take his revenge on the Emperor of the Dongwu Empire. Then the story continues, where Minister Zhou, who was supported by the Jinyu Empire, managed to uncover hundreds of criminal acts committed by the Dongwu Emperor and succeeded in overthrowing him from the throne of the Emperor, and eliminated hundreds of subordinates under his power. One of Emperor Dongwu's men was the Fan Man and his father, who was an army commander. In summary, many people were taken down at that time, and eventually Minister Zhou ascended the throne to become the new emperor of the Danwo Empire. On the other side, Chen, who heard the story, felt very familiar with the names mentioned by the person next to him. He knew that the Jinyu Empire Emperor was Lang Su's father, and Lang Su was the person he had entrusted to return the book to Xiaoming, and Xiaoming was Minister Zhou's daughter. Chen thought that his request to Lang Su to return the book to Xiaoming had something to do with the arrival of the Jinyu Emperor, who was interested in the news of the asteroid's fall. But that was not the case. Chen wondered if he was the cause of this mess, since he had told Lang Su to deliver the book to Xiaoming. Chen Pingon thought that all the missions he ordered had hidden meanings. The reason why Chen told him to deliver books to Xiaoming was so that Lang Su's father, the Emperor of the Jinyu Empire, could help Minister Zhou, but that was not the case again, it was just Chen Pingon's thoughts. We returned to Chen Pingon, who was visited by a green-haired person. The green-haired person was interested in the story the brown-haired person told. The green-haired person said, "It seems like this brown-haired man knows a lot about the happenings in the Dongwu Empire," so he then asked the brown-haired man if he also knew about the alchemist who recently appeared in the Dongwu Empire. The brown-haired man was immediately excited to tell the story again. The brown-haired man said, of course he knew about the alchemist, because he saw the alchemist right before his eyes, as he processed the pills effortlessly, just like someone who was just cooking something. He even mentioned that the alchemist also revised a recipe spontaneously and managed to make pills that were even higher in quality than the original recipe. The brown-haired man also said that the alchemist's name was Zhen Danting. Chen, who was there, just blushed in embarrassment at the brown-haired man's story. It was as if Chen felt awkward if he told both of them that he was the Zhen Danting in question. Then the brown-haired man asked Chen whether he also knew Zhen Danting. If Chen didn't know him, then he was willing to tell him more details about Zhen Danting. But there was something a little strange about the brown-haired man's story. If it is true that he saw Zhen Danting in person, but why didn't he recognize Chen, who was beside him at that time? Because Chen's disguise as Zhen Danting did not change his total physique at all, it's only his name. Shortly after, Lord One came up to Chen by calling him Zhen Danting, and immediately the people around were shocked, because the person they were talking about was near them. Likewise with the brown-haired man, he was caught lying by the green-haired person. He had never actually seen Zhen Danting in person, but had only heard rumors about him. After the departure of Chen and Lord One, the green-haired man thought, while looking at Chen, apparently it was the person called Zhen Danting, an alchemist who was predicted to appear when I was in the immortal world. From this green-haired man's words, we can infer that he is from the immortal world, and it is likely that he is also an immortal who has predicted the appearance of an alchemist in the mortal world. Zhen Danting's name was also famous at that time as an alchemist genius during the previous alchemist tournament, so that made this immortal deliberately come to the Dongwu Empire to check the existence of Zhen Danting directly. Then who is this immortal man? We will move on to the next story. Let's go back to Chen Pingon. Lord One said that he had already registered Zhen Danting or Chen Pingon for the alchemist tournament, so he didn't need to take care of anything until the tournament arrived. Not long after, June arrived looking like a girl. June greeted Chen Pingon, but Chen Pingon, who was not used to June's girly-like appearance, asked, "Who is she? Does she know him?" She then explained that she was June, the person who had given him the tournament info. At that moment, Chen remembered her. June then thanked Chen for giving her the pill he made at the previous tournament. That pill must have been very valuable. June apparently also participated in the previous tournament, and she made a bet with Chen. If Chen loses, then he must comply with one request from her, but what that request she asked Chen has not been mentioned here. This alchemist tournament, which was participated in by quite a number of alchemist experts, finally began. One of the tournament participants was a green-haired man from the immortal world. The purpose of the green-haired man joining this tournament was to monitor the alchemist skill of Zhendanting. He wanted to know the truth about an alchemist who was expected to appear in the mortal world. On the other hand, Emperor Jinyu Empire, or Lang Su's father, was also watching this tournament, and he had questioned who the green-haired man near Senior Chen was. Was he also an alchemist? With his young appearance. Interestingly, Emperor Danwu also didn't know who the green-haired man was. When he checked his book, he also did not find his name listed as an alchemist. However, because Lord One had seen Senior Chen chatting with the green hair, he guessed that maybe the green-haired man was an acquaintance of Senior Chen, who came because he was invited by him. They then let the green-haired man join the tournament. Let's go back to the green-haired man. As someone who came from the immortal world, and as an immortal who came for the purpose of monitoring Zhendanting's skills, he was determined not to lose to an ordinary mortal, especially when it came to alchemists. He planned to pull out his best as an immortal in the tournament, not wanting his pride as an immortal to be tarnished. But unfortunately, after a little while the tournament had started, he fell behind Chen. At that time, the pill made by Chen looked almost finished and gave off a pleasant smell. The immortal was a little confused at first. How could that be? Although this Zhendanting was rumored to be a genius alchemist, how could he beat him who was an immortal? But he quickly discarded his bad thoughts, and thought that maybe the method used by Zhendanting was a fast pill-making method but did not necessarily produce better pills than his own. Finally, he was re-energized by continuing his mantras so that the pills he processed would be successful. And finally he said, "Now we just need to wait for lightning." So, I don't know what this green-haired man is talking about. Maybe the lightning is the same as the lightning that struck Chen's furnace when he was making pills in Ping'an sect. So, maybe if the lightning struck the furnace, it was not because it failed, but instead there was something special about the pill being made. The point is that if it is struck by lightning, it means that the pill is good. Maybe it is like that, so the pill produced is of a high level. When the immortal was waiting for lightning, he was confused, because the lightning that appeared was quite large. Even though he only made one pill, it should theoretically be impossible. The existence of such a large lightning bolt would actually damage the pill. Due to the appearance of a very large lightning bolt, the immortal finally made a barricade to protect his furnace, so the pill he made would not be destroyed. But unexpectedly, it turned out that the lightning did not strike the immortal's furnace, but struck Chen Pingan or Zhendanting's furnace, which happened to be almost finished. Chen, who already knew that the appearance of lightning indicated that his pill was successful, quite swiftly utilized the lightning and managed to make two pills very smoothly, unlike the pills he made before which were burnt by lightning strikes. The green-haired immortal was puzzled. Why didn't the lightning strike his furnace? Why did it strike Zhendanting's furnace instead? Then Chen said that he was finally able to make a lightning elixir pill. This lightning elixir pill was probably Chen's made-up name for the pill he had made, on the grounds that the pill was struck by lightning, so Chen called it a lightning elixir pill. From Chen's words, that his furnace had also been struck by lightning before he joined the tournament, made the immortal wonder, was he serious? His furnace had been struck by lightning too? If it has indeed been struck by lightning, it means that you have succeeded in making immortal pills. The green-haired immortal's question also made Chen realize if all this time the pill he had made was called the immortal pill. So the name of the pill Chen made was called the immortal pill, not the lightning elixir pill. Chen also realized that the pills he made were much higher level than the pills made by ordinary alchemists. Even though he only followed all the instructions in the alchemist's book, he became more and more confused about this alchemist world. He only followed the recipe for making ordinary pills, but why the result was a very high-level pill. Knowing that Chen succeeded in making an immortal pill made the green-haired immortal depressed, because he lost the competition to ordinary people from the mortal world who should be much weaker than him. His pride as an immortal had been tarnished. Then he protested to the gods. While pointing his finger upwards, he said, "I've made the immortal pill, but why isn't there any lightning striking the furnace?" Soon after, a lightning appeared, but instead of striking his furnace, it struck him. Chen was then notified by the system that his mission had been completed and that the prize would be awarded after the tournament, when the tournament attendees had gone home, as Zhendanting's name was well known as an alchemist. After being struck by lightning, perhaps the green-haired immortal's mind was clearer, and he finally admitted his defeat to Zhendanting. But at the same time, he became even more curious about Jin Dongting's true identity, because there was no way he was just an ordinary mortal, because how could an ordinary mortal defeat him, an immortal? The immortal then announced to the people that he was actually an immortal who came from the immortal realm. The people in that crowd were very surprised by his words, including Chen. Then the immortal encouraged himself to ask Chen or Jin Dongting about what his true identity was, because there was no way with such great alchemist skills he was just an ordinary mortal. Jin Dongting has higher knowledge than him, so it is impossible if Jin Dongting is just an ordinary person. Surely Jin Dongting is hiding his true identity. Chen, who was somewhat surprised by the green-haired immortal's question, decided to pretend and not tell his true identity, because he was afraid of getting into trouble with an immortal. Chen lied to the green-haired immortal by saying that from the beginning he already knew who he really was, and also he already knew the ability of the green-haired immortal, so for now he felt it was not the time for the green-haired immortal to know who he really was. Actually, Chen said so because he was afraid that the green-haired immortal had evil intentions towards him, especially since his dog stayed silent at that time. Chen thought this green-haired immortal must be very strong and could not be resisted by anyone. Even his dog just stayed silent and did not do anything. Maybe the dog was also scared. That's why Chen pretended to be someone who had power. But apart from all the fears and other things, Chen then asked the green-haired immortal what was his purpose in coming down to the mortal world. So Chen wanted to know what the immortal's purpose came down to the world, and afterwards he would also reveal his true identity. It may be his real reason was. Chen didn't want to be in a dangerous situation, and if he was in danger later, then he would ask his dog, who was a dragon, to take care of him. The green-haired immortal then recounted that while in the immortal realm, he had heard rumors that an alchemist would appear in the Danwu Empire, so he planned to meet the alchemist and then bring him up to the immortal realm for cultivation. Because no matter how skilled a cultivator from the mortal world was, it was still much weaker than an immortal, so he didn't want to waste the alchemist's ability in the mortal world. It was better to bring him up to the immortal realm for training. Originally, he thought the alchemist was Jin Dongting, according to the rumors, but after watching Jin Dongting's skills, he felt that Chen's skills were higher than the skills he had, so he doubted whether the rumored alchemist was Jin Dongting. In his opinion, with the skills possessed by Jin Dongting, there was no need to train him in the immortal realm. After knowing the intentions of the green-haired immortal, who had absolutely no malicious intentions, Chen then said that he actually also wanted to go to the immortal world and take the path of cultivation seriously, not pretend and rely on luck, as he had been doing all this time. But because Su Ling and Xin Xin or Boss Don were at his house, Chen felt that he couldn't go for too long and leave the two of them at home. Chen said this because of his ignorance about his family, who actually had very extraordinary powers. He felt that if he left, then no one would take care of the two of them. So Chen thought he would use this invitation to return the favor to Lord One, who had helped him complete his mission smoothly. Chen then said that the real alchemist was in the Danyuan sect. He then introduced Lord One to the green-haired immortal so that the two of them could discuss the alchemist further. By introducing Lord One to the immortal, Chen felt that his debt of gratitude to Lord One had been repaid. His actions would raise the status of the sect, and Lord One would take care of whether the Danyuan sect would advance under his leadership. After telling all his goals to the mortal world, the green-haired immortal then demanded Chen's promise to tell Chen's true identity. Chen then issued his alibi again, saying, if you can't find out who I really am, then your strength is not strong enough. If it is strong enough, then later you can find out who I really am. In other words, Chen is saying that if the green-haired immortal's strength is strong enough, then he will be able to see his true self, so cultivate harder. A moment later, Lang Su's father, or Emperor Jinyu, suddenly appeared and said that it was reasonable that all this time he had seen Senior Chen's aura, which was different all the time. It was sometimes looking strong, and sometimes it was looking weak, and at this time the aura that Senior Chen showed was only at the national level. There was nothing special about his aura. Emperor Jinyu then thought that his strength was indeed not strong enough to see Senior Chen's true strength. After believing that his business in the Danwu Empire was over, Chen then said goodbye to go home and told the dog to turn into a dragon so that he could leave in style. Chen's departure left quite a lot of questions in the green-haired immortal's mind, because the dragon alone was stronger than him, but on the senior side, that dog was just a dog and a riding mount. He became even more curious about the senior's true identity and how powerful he was. Then Emperor Danwu approached the green-haired immortal and told him not to be discouraged and not to think too much about Senior Chen, because the senior status is already far above the immortal, as well as the dog. And at the same time, Emperor Jinyu also added that if it was true that Senior Chen's level was already too high, so there was no need to mess around, because this was not much. He had even seen the immortal emperor come and bow down to Senior Chen, so it was certain that Senior Chen's level was higher than an emperor. I might forget exactly when the incident they are talking in this scene is happened. It might be there a part that was missed in this story, considering that the character of Lang Su and Jinyu Empire just appeared in the previous story, but in today's story, Lang Su's father is described as someone who has known Chen for so long. Then Emperor Jinyu congratulated Lord Wan, who managed to have a special relationship with Senior Chen. Lord Wan was a lucky person to have known Senior Chen, and it was likely that the future of Danyuan sect would be quite bright because of the special relationship between Lord Wan and Senior Chen. Hearing Emperor Jinyu's words, Lord Wan then replied that he was not the first person to know Chen. He had never done anything before, but his daughter, June, brought Senior Chen to him. Hearing June's name mentioned, the blue-haired immortal suddenly remembered that he had also heard that June had successfully made a high-level elixir pill in the previous tournament. And he had also just learned that June was Lord Wan's daughter, so he concluded that perhaps the alchemist, who was in the Danyuan sect, Chen was referring to as June. The conversation between them was not continued, as it was cut off at that point. Whether June was later appointed as a student of the green-haired immortal, we have yet to find out. The story continues to Chen Pingan, who was receiving a reward for completing his mission. The reward in question was the elevation of his cultivation to the Finshan level, a more advanced level of cultivation. In addition, Chen also gets another reward, which is that for each mission that he has been successfully completed, he will get a new item with a comparable strength to the opponent he has defeated, so the stronger the opponent defeated, the stronger the power of the item he will get, and the item can be increased in strength by using his points later. But as we already know, Chen's points have run out because they have been used to buy a sniper. Chen then returned to his house to hunt for points that might be obtained at home. On his way, Chen was approached by the owner of Kanbao Pharmacy, who thought Chen had a mental disorder the last time they met. The pharmacy owner brought a gift for Chen because he heard rumors that had spread throughout the city, stating that Chen would soon get married. Chen was very surprised to hear that. He didn't even know when he would get married, why suddenly such rumors had spread throughout the city. Chen finally thought it was Su Ling's doing. She was the one who had spread the rumors about him to the locals. Chen then went home, intending to scold Su Ling for spreading untrue rumors about him. Once home, Chen saw Su Ling helping Xin Xin or Boss Duan put on a wedding dress, just like a woman who was getting married, and Chen was even more shocked when he saw her. So, is Chen really going to marry Boss Duan soon? To find out the rest, we will continue to the next part.